So the Rugby World Cup warm-up games will be continuing this one, the Springboks taking on Wales. Now we're going to be trying to predict who the Springboks will go with in this Welsh game. It's going to be tricky, although we do only have 33 men now to be able to select. It is myself, it is Rugbyitch, mate. How excited are you for this World Cup? Less than 30 days away. Doesn't get much better than that.
Yeah, no, I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, we're only like 3 weeks away from this, so it's just kind of crazy to think how close we are. I mean, I'm just kind of going back through flashbacks really towards the last World Cup, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, we're actually going to experience this. We're going to experience this once more. So I'm just like, oh my, I can't wait for it. Can't wait for it. But of course, we do still have these warm-up games, so they're very important. So we'll be kind of interested to see who they select in terms of these games. So it'll be pretty important.
Exactly right, because of course they've got Wales this weekend, and then next weekend the All Blacks, which it's tricky to know what kind of sides they are going to be going with in these two games. So to be honest, both of us have just taken a little bit of a stab in the dark here to try and guess as many right as we can. But front row wise, who have you gone with to start your side off?
Well, it's kind of exactly what you said. We're kind of taking a guess at this if they'll either go with a strong lineup here or more of a kind of a rotation lineup going into that All Black final warm-up game against the All Blacks. But in my opinion, I believe you have to go with your best team really just throughout this, kind of give them a bit more chemistry, to say the least, going into this Rugby World Cup. So for that reason alone, I've actually gone what I believe is the best. We have Stephen Kitsoff at number 1, Malcolm Marx number 2, and Frans Malherbe at number 3. So we'll see if they do it or not, but that's what I believe is probably the best front row they can go with.
Okay, well, I have not done that.
Unfortunately. Okay, I like this.
I have made a little bit of a switch. I'm still on the same boat as you, though. I've got the same props. Stephen Kitsoff, number 1. Frans Malherbe, number 3. Except I've gone with Bongion Banambi as my starting number 2. It's very tricky to know whether or not they are going to be starting Marx or Mbanambi as we move closer to that World Cup and for those games of the France competition. But I just think that having Malcolm Marx off the bench is just such a utility and such a key weapon that the Springboks will be able to use. So I'm trying it again here, see whether or not it will be successful. But now we're on to the locks, and this is a new combination that I am also trying. Number 4, Ebenezer. Number 5, well, it's new, but it's old, RG Snyman.
Okay.
He's had a couple games off the bench, and I feel like about now is the right time to give him that start at 5, seeing as Ludiacha is not in the side. They've given already quite a few cracks so far, but seems like Jean Klein is more of that 4 option than 5. Him and Etzebev slightly fighting for that same spot, so I've gone with the big man Etzebev and the bigger man. Is he bigger? He's close to bigger, isn't he? RG Snyman? Yeah, he's quite a tall bloke. We're going to have to Google this up because the rest of them, it's going to hurt our brains. Eben, 203. I think Snyman's 206.
Actually, I was going to say, I think it's like 204, 205.
206. So, yes, Snyman and the bigger man, RG Snyman. Who have you got?
Well, it's no surprise here. I've gone the exact same 2 as you. I mean, this is kind of like I believe also is kind of the best duo you can in terms of that lock-in pairing. Again, I mean, you have likes of Marvin Ore as well as Jean Klein, but I just think these 2 alone, you got to kind of build them up going to this Rugby World Cup. So yeah, that's the 2 I've also selected.
Righty, so now we move on to the loose forward trio. We seem to be on a similar page. This is normally where we end up going in 2 completely different directions. For yourself, who have you gone with? Have you gone with a similar one to what we saw maybe in that Wallabies first game? Or have you gone more with something like we're seeing for Argentina? There are plenty of options. Is there even a Khaleesi return involved?
Yeah, well, with Khaleesi, I kind of made the point because I'm just a bit uncertain on him still that I haven't included him within my starting lineup as well as my bench. I'll give a spoiler there. But with my loose forwards, though, I have made a bit of a switch in terms of what we saw against that Wallabies side, back in round 1. I have gone with like Corey Smith actually at the number 6 because I thought he played pretty well there actually. Number 7, I go with Franco Mostert. And number 8, this is where I made the switch from Dwayne Vermeulen. I've chosen Jasper Wiese there. I think this is a perfect game for him really to go against Wales. And then maybe later on when they go against the All Blacks, that's maybe when you introduce Dwayne Vermeulen as a starter. But for now, I think Jasper Wiese, this is kind of what I believe is the perfect game for him.
I like what you've done there. I've got 3 differences.
What?
Once again, how do we keep on doing this?
How do you have 3 differences?
Well, I've got number 6, Mako van Staden. So I felt like he could have a really good shot of cementing himself as that backup number 6 if Khaleesi is match fit going into the Rugby World Cup. Number 7, I've given it to Peter Steph du Toit. And then number 8, I have gone with Dwayne Vermeulen. I feel like they'll be more likely to use him in this game than they'll be to use him in the All Blacks game. Just that little bit of a feeling. But somehow, like I said, loose forward trio, we always seem to
we
go 2 different directions.
I'm actually interested because would you say that Marco van Staden is seen as more as the backup to Khaleesi in the World Cup? Or would you put Quagga Smith there? Because again, both of them can play 6, but who would you rather have as the backup to Khaleesi?
I think I would probably go with Marco van Staden. Just because of that jackling ability. Quagga Smith, he offers you a lot of benefit across the loose forward trio. I would actually go Colin Smith, so it's interesting to see the difference there. Yeah, I think Marco van Staden, he seems to be the specialist number 6 option.
Yeah.
And I feel like Quagga, the benefit he's got is if he comes off the bench, he can go anywhere, He can go 6, 7, 8.
That's true.
No worries at all. So yeah, that is why I've gone with van Staden as their number 6. But now we're on to the 19 combo. For myself, I have gone with experience and number 9, Faf de Klerk. And then number 10, the only fly half per se, but not really. There's other plans in play, but number 10, Mani Libbok for myself.
Yeah, I mean, that's well, to be fair, this is probably one of the big changes I've made within my side because I actually haven't gone with Faf de Klerk at the start in this game. I just think when you have now 4 scrum halves, I think it's best opportunity to give, I guess, the rest of them a chance in terms of game time because when it comes towards the World Cup, I do believe Faf will be the main starter over, so he'll get most of the minutes in my opinion. So I think for this game, it's a great game to kind of at least give minutes to the others. So I think for this one, it's actually the reason why I've given it towards Jenny Hendrickse to start. And then alongside him, I've also gone with Mani Libbok. So yeah.
Now, some people might get offended because I said there was only one fly half option. Of course, Damien Valimza, he is listed as a fly half, although...
Even Faf, like he's never even said he's counted as the third 10 option, but we'll see if that pays off.
I just feel like Damien Valimza, the way that he played at 15 compared to 10, and the fact that they're not going to give him that kicking tee, he's got to be fullback, doesn't he, if he's in there?
I agree. I mean, I would probably trust William Rue probably with his kicking better than Damien Valimza, but that says a lot, by the way. But again, we also haven't seen Valimza kick in a while, so maybe he's improved since we last seen him, but... Yeah,
it's just weird that they've never backed him, to be honest, because I don't think he was that bad for the Stormers a couple of years ago. And then for some reason, international level happened and they went, right, you're no longer kicking. Because I don't think they expected him to be a fly half option. I think they were thinking we're more going to use you as fullback.
Exactly.
And then as soon as he started, I guess, getting more game time in that number 10 jersey, they were like, should we let him kick? And then, nah. We got Fuff, or we got Chislin over there. He'll be right. Get the headgear off. Give it a kick, Chislin. But he's a player that we may or may not have in the back 3. But first, we've got the centres. No Lukanyawan. That was easy for us due to the injury, which means we're going to make a new combo. It's got to be a World Cup winning combo. So who have you got as your 12 and 13? No pressure.
Yeah, well, it's crazy because normally we would just we would go through this position with ease, really, with Kanye on there, obviously. But now this is, I mean, I'm not saying this is what I would go with as like my starting World Cup combo in terms of, if we go to the final, for example. But I feel like I think this one gives the most balance in terms of the positions we have. And I'll probably go with Dibin Delende at number 12. And I'll go with Jesse Klill at number 13. I just think Jesse Klill is known as, he's known as a 13 in terms of what he provides in that position. Again, I could have gone with the likes of, Andre Eshazen if I wanted to, but he really fits more in terms of that 12 category, I think. And, I mean, he was brilliant against the Wallabies, actually, in that first round. But I think when you have someone like Dibin Delende, you can't really ignore him. So that's the reason why I've gone with Delende as well as Krill as my center combo.
All right. Sounds familiar.
Oh, good. I thought you were going to say sounds different. I was like, what?
No, you're all right. You're all right. Of course, Andre Esterhuizen could have been maybe an option.
No. He could have
for this game.
Been there. Yeah.
But I have gone with Damien Delende and Jesse Krill
nice.
as that combo. Now the back 3. Number 11,
the top bit.
I've given it to Kurtley Arinsa.
Okay.
Now, I mentioned how I was having a few issues with trying to pick what to do, and the reason that I was having issues was Makazole Mapimpi. because
He makes it hard.
I don't see him as a player who they'll bring off the bench just because it seems to
I
be for
agree.
Mapimpi, he's either starting or he's nowhere. But it seemed really, really difficult to not have him in here somewhere. But then at the same time, they need game time for Arinsa to try and really build up his confidence heading into a World Cup. Number 14, I've actually gone with Cheslin Colby again.
Okay.
Mainly because I feel like him out there on the field, of course, he offers that kicking option. Maybe I ballsed it up a little bit by having Faf de Klerk as the halfback. The more I think about that, the more I'm thinking maybe Kobus Reinach could have been quite a handy option in there. But I've gone with Cheslin Colby at 14. And then number 15, due to his experience, I know you were having a sleep, so I thought I'd join in. Number 15, similar to what I have done throughout the Rugby Championship, it is Willie Leroux as my closing number 15.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've gone with 2 out of the 3, which you've gone with. I guess the big one is that I've actually chosen with Makazole Mapimpi ahead of Curly Alarenza here. I just think that, again, similar towards, I guess, Jasper Wiese, I think this is kind of a game for him, really, against Wales. And then maybe if you want to make the switch later on against the All Blacks, you can. But for now, I've gone with Mapimpi at number 11. I've also gone with Cheslin Colby number 14 and Willie Leroux at the number 15. I just think you have to go with Willie Leroux there because that axis between him and Libbok worked pretty well, in my opinion, I'd say, throughout the Rugby Championship, in particular that first round against the Wallabies. So I think you just have to, you have to develop that chemistry really more. Because again, Pollard, he wasn't selected for the World Cup squad. But to what I believe and what you guys mentioned within the comments throughout our podcast, as well as previous videos, was that I believe there's a cutoff date, actually, which is September the 1st. Which, if a squad wants to make any changes to their final, kind of squad overall before they go to the Rugby World Cup, they can. So maybe they're giving Pollard a bit of, more time to see if he's available or not. But if he's not, then yeah, you definitely need that 10, 15 to work. So yeah, that's the reason why I went Willie Leroux there.
The overall pretty strong starting lineup for both of us, would you say?
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
That's the thing with the Springboks 33 men's squad. We were finding this as we were trying to put our teams together as well. Like, this is a good side.
Yeah.
No matter what they go with. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to France. First game up against Scotland. We had a narrow loss in that game up against France. So anything could happen, of course, when they do head there. But nonetheless, now we move on to the benches. Now, I heard you say beforehand you went with a 6-2 split. Is that correct?
Indeed.
Okay. Myself, I've gone with the 5-3. So we have a little bit of a difference there in a couple of our positions, but we'll start with the front row replacements. Who have you got? 16, 17, 18.
Yeah, so again, I think this is pretty simple in terms of, I guess, everyone was strong, kind of for, well, we could say what the starting line in terms of that, loose heads as well as tight heads as well as hooker. For this one off the bench, I've gone with the likes of Bongi Manami at number 16. I've gone with Thomas Dutoit at number 17. And then this is where I could have gone with the likes of Vincent Koch, but I actually decided to go with Trevor Nkanya here. And I know that's kind of a bit of a switch because he has actually been covering that, I believe, the loose head position. But I don't know. I just thought I'd give him a go in terms of that tight head. So we'll see if that pays off or not.
I guess if there was ever a time to make switches, it is
exactly.
just before the World Cup, isn't it? But for myself, number 16, Malcolm Marks, seeing as I didn't have him in that starting lineup. Number 17, Trevor Nkanya. So I am playing him as a loose head. Although saying that, Oxner Share, I feel like eventually he's going to come back into that position. So perhaps that is somewhere when Nkanya does go to tight head. So how did we forget Oxney? Did you completely forget him? Because I completely forgot him.
I'll be honest, in my thinking, I completely forgot him. So I guess...
I think he's still injured, though, for a little bit longer, isn't he?
Exactly.
Because he's still, maybe, a little bit.
I would love to put him in, guys, but I got to stick with my predictions. So... yeah, but the more I think about it, actually, I think you could be in this squad somehow, but we'll see. We'll see.
Although he is not my number 18, because instead I did go with Vincent Koch. So now moving on to my 2 forward replacements.
Okay.
I've got number 19, Franco Mostert. The fact that he can cover lock as well as loose forward trio means he's very handy in this 5-3 split, as well as number 20, Jasper Wiese. I believe they'll give him some game time throughout this contest, so I thought I'd bring him off the bench, try and have that late impact in the game up against the Welsh.
Yeah, I mean, for me, again, I've had to go with a bit of more experience off my bench. That's kind of the route which I've decided. So similar to you, I've gone with also the likes of Gene Klein here. Well, no, actually, no, you haven't even gone with Gene Klein actually, but I've gone with Gene Klein here as my locking backup. In terms of the other loose forwards, I've actually gone with Peterson the Toit off the bench, as well as Dwayne Vermeulen. So
Well, that's
I know it's
good.
a tough call this because the more I think about it, actually, I mean, Dwayne could also play in this game because he normally does pretty well against the Welsh. Kind of looking back towards what was it, the 2015 World Cup actually, when he had that kind of the backhand pass towards Dupree to score that try led on. But yeah, no, I have to stick with him on the bench. But yeah, so in that case, I've got a very experienced loose head bench.
Lovely. So now we have the back replacements. I have got 3, but you have got 2, and it's your turn first. So who have you got?
Yes, I think this is pretty simple for me. I've gone with this is where I've gone with actually Flatfoot Kirk. I know it's a weird decision this because most likely he'll probably start at the end of the day, or he might not even might not even be selected, and probably will be like what Grant Williams or Kubasonic. But I've gone with Flatfoot Kirk here, and then in terms of that 23 spots, I've actually gone with Andre Estehausen. Again, I know it's bold because I could have gone with Curly Alarenza because it covers 15, 11, and 14, but I don't know. I just feel like you can shift what Jesse Clow towards the 14 if needed. You can put Chesley Coben to the 15. You can put Andre Esaezen at the 12 or 13. So there's a lot of rotation which you can do anyway with Andre Esaezen at the 23. So yeah, we'll see if they're doing or not. But yeah, I like the squad which I've selected.
I think that you're pretty strategic there as well, having Faf de Klerk off your bench because of the fact that you haven't gone with Damien Valimza. It means
Exactly.
that de Klerk is
Exactly.
your backup fly half, which I assume is a little bit of that thinking behind it.
That's the reason why I chose to go with 6-2 instead of the 5-3, just for this game. In terms of that, yeah.
Alrighty, so for myself, I've got Jaden Hendrickson as my number 21. I'm not
Nice.
quite going to throw him into the deep end. I'm going to ease him back in a little bit,
I like it.
give
I
him
like
that
it.
chance off the bench. Number 22, Damien Valimza. They've got a massive decision to make here, though, and that is who does he come on for? Does he play fullback for Villy LaRue? Does he play for Mani Libok? Or does he even get a little bit of a crack at inside centre? Is something that I've heard a few people talking about. Not a chance? Not
No, I
happy?
mean, when you have someone like Andre Esaezen as your cover, that I don't even see Devin Williams as a 12 option, in my opinion. Yes, he can cover that, but I wouldn't really consider him as my 1 or 2. But I do agree that Williams is probably a great option to cover Willaroo and Libok because at the end of the day, I mean, I hate to say it, but particularly for Libok, because he's still kind of getting used to the system and everything, I think you really do need someone like Williams to back him up. I guess more in terms of like LaRue. I mean, he's experienced overall, so you can cover on him any day of the week. But it just comes down towards fitness for him, really. So if you need someone like Williams off the bench, it's just it's great to have.
Speaking of experience, that is what my number 23 does not have a lot of. Because I have gone with Canon Moody. Now,
Ooh, I like that.
are they more likely to have Cheslin Colby off the bench and maybe Moody start at 14? That's a possibility.
Yeah.
I think out of Arinsa or Moody, they're more likely to have Arinsa off the bench, to be honest. But then Moody, I've just kind of put in there because I think they'll give him some sort of chance after the way that he played in that last game. I feel like that one up against Argentina was probably what actually put him into the squad because of how well he played. So I thought I'd better give him another crack, see exactly how he goes off the bench. But those are our 23-man sides for the game up against Wales. The squad is going to be announced in the near future, and when it is, I will be letting you know exactly who is in that side and how many we got wrong, because we could have a few, but hopefully we aren't a mile off. But nonetheless, we do thank you all very much for tuning in. Be sure to check out Rugbyitch over on his YouTube channel, currently in Belgium, I believe, which is why you see a slightly different background. I'm looking at that picture and I have no idea what's going on, mate. What is
I'll
the
be completely
picture
honest,
of?
I have no clue as well. I have no clue as well. So I'm not even giving you a description because if I did, it would be horrendously wrong. But yes, I'm in Belgium at the moment. But I believe by the time we do our next video, which should be the podcast, that should be the last one, if I'm not mistaken, we may record in Belgium. I'm not sure. But besides that, I should be back in the UK in time for the next video for you guys.
I'm just staring at it. I think there's an apple at the top. Is that an apple up on
Look,
at the very top?
There's
a
some kind of
moose,
door
is there?
here. I
A
mean,
moose?
yeah. And
I
there's
can see a
hat.
moose,
There's
but I
hat
don't
as
think
well.
there's a
So,
moose.
yeah.
It's a nice hat. You should wear that out in public.
There you go.
Isn't that lovely? But nonetheless, also check out the Rugby Recap, our podcast where we do talk all things World Rugby and whatnot. Thank you all very much for tuning in. We will see you all for the next one.